Hello, thank you for stopping by. My name is Becky and this is Bex Reads, and today I have another weekly reads video to share with you. If I move around a lot in this video, it's because I hurt my back. Because when you're old and you do the slightest thing, shit just falls apart. But I wanted to talk about these books so that I didn't forget about them, and I wanted to be consistent with this, and today I'm actually able to sit upright. So I wanted to do something that made me feel a little bit better instead of just laying on my back on the couch. So I am here to share with you the books that I have read January 15th through the 21st. The first book that I finished was Outlander. I am reading this for the Outlander read-along hosted by Jen at the Book Refuge, and I had a library loan for the audiobooks, so I needed to get it done before that time ran out. I've loved Outlander since I first read it, but I've never reread it. So this is the first time that I have revisited this world, aside from the TV show, in 16 years. So if you don't know what this is about, it is about a woman named Claire who is visiting Scotland with her husband. I think they're on their honeymoon or maybe anniversary. I don't know. But they're there. Her husband is looking into like his family history or whatnot. And it is around Samhain. So she and her husband end up finding this like fairy circle of standing stones, and they're very curious about it. She witnesses like a group of young women doing like a witch dance around it one night and whatnot. So she ends up going back one day and she hears that the stones are like buzzing. So she touches them and it transports her, I believe 1776. I think that's when it is. It's 1700s. And she's still in Scotland. It's just a different time period. She came from 1940s, and there she is trying, not very hard, to get her way back to her own time period. That is until she ends up being taken in by the Mackenzie clan, and they sort of use her as the clan healer because she does have medical training and stuff like that, and they think she's an English spy, so they think what better way to keep an eye on her than to have her be a member of our clan. She ends up being forced into an arranged marriage with Jamie, who is this 22-year-old strapping, strong, sexy man. And she ends up realizing that she's not in such a hurry to get back to her own time after all. I love being back in Scotland. I love the historical elements that Diana Gabaldon weaves into her stories. I love the relationship between Jamie and Claire. I just love Jamie and his clan altogether. I think Jamie is a very gentlemanly character. He's just a stand-up guy. Claire does get on my nerves at times because she is a 1940s woman trying to bring in her ideals and her feminism to 1700s Scotland. And girl, you just can't do it. I'm sorry to burst your freaking bubble, but you're a woman in the 1700s. Just shut up and listen to the men who are trying to protect you. Because most of the situations Claire ends up needing being saved from are her own making. If she would have just listened to Jamie or the other clan members, she wouldn't end up in the situation she ends up anyway. But she thinks, you know, she's a modern day woman and she knows best. Girl, you don't, okay? You're not from this time period, so just follow along and try not to get yourself in shitty situations. But I do like her character in some aspects as well because she is forward thinking and she does try to bring some of her knowledge into the past and help the people there. I have only listened to like the last two books on audiobook, and I think they're done by the same narrator, but she doesn't really give me Claire vibes. She sounds very matronly, and that is just not how I see Claire. It's also only singularly narrated. I think this would be a much better audiobook if it were a full cast narration. The only other thing I don't like about Outlander is the character of Jack. I spend so much time just waiting for him to die. Oh yeah, if you read it, you know you know. But other than that, this was a great reread, and I am excited to get on to book 2 and see where it lands, because book 2 has never been my favorite, but because I know where the story is going and I know some of the things that I didn't know on my first read, I think I'm going to enjoy it a lot more. The next book I finished was Warrior of the Wild by Tricia Levenseller. This is a Viking-inspired historical, very low fantasy. Like the fantastical elements of this are pretty low, are pretty nil. And in this, we were following this young woman. I think she's 18 at the time of this book. Her name is Rosmira. And she lives in this clan that at the age of 8, all of the children are expected to pick sort of a career to focus on. And Rasmira, being the youngest of, I think, 6 or 7 daughters, she wants to carry on her father's lineage of being the clan leader and being a warrior. And so she chooses to study to be a warrior and practice to be a warrior. And so at 18, as sort of their graduation ceremony, all of the warriors are thrown into this maze with these very deadly poisonous creatures. And for some reason, it's if they get bitten by one of these creatures, then they are banished to the wilds where nobody can survive, and they are given this impossible task that they have to achieve in order to be welcomed back into their clan. And Rasmira is the best of the best when it comes to the warriors because she's the female main character and she was raised by her warrior father. And yet somehow she ends up bitten by one of these poisonous creatures. And despite the fact that she's their best warrior, they banish her to the wilds because that's just how it works. And when she gets out there, you know, nobody has survived the wilds and been welcomed back in her clan, so you know she's gonna do it. She's the female main character. So she survives her first night in the wild, and then the next day, she ends up saving this other young man who was also exiled to the wilds. And she takes him back to his tree fort where he has his best friend with him, and together they form a plan to help one another achieve their impossible tasks to all go back to their clans. This was an okay read. It was really fast-paced. I really liked the wilderness adventure and the survival mode that these characters in. I like reading stories where characters have to survive in the wild. It gives me inspiration if I ever had to do that. I would die, but my delusional self likes to have the knowledge in the back of my head, just in case. I think my favorite part of this book was the setting of it. The wild, the things they have to do to survive, the plant life, the creatures and such. This does have a bit of a romance in it, although I was so thankful that it didn't turn into a love triangle because there are 2 guys and 1 girl. You would expect that in a YA story, but it didn't, and I won't tell you why it doesn't, but it doesn't. I like Rasmira's character. She is a very tough, very smart character. She fights for what she wants. She knows how to take care of herself, and she's very determined to succeed in what she is planning to do. So this was fine. I just don't think it's very memorable. And then the last book I finished was His Darkest Craving by Tiffany Roberts. This is an adult paranormal romance. It is about this woman who, Sophie, her name's Sophie. She is fleeing from a very abusive marriage. Her husband severely abused her, and so she got the help of her next door neighbor to get out of the situation. She's in the process of getting a divorce or whatnot, and she ends up living in this very secluded cabin in the middle of the woods, and she's just trying to reclaim her life, get back to doing what she loved before her husband made her give it up. She's trying to get past her trauma a little bit. And when she is there, she always feels like something is watching her. And she has this idea that it's her husband, but she knows it's not her husband, but because she's dealing with a lot of trauma, she can't get past that. Until one day, she is saved from being mauled by a bear by this shadow creature. And in doing that, she gets horny for him. And he becomes obsessed with her. He wants to feed on her to take her life force, but one touch and now he just wants to bang her. And with Halloween coming up, he tells her that on Halloween night, it's the one night of the year where he can take on a physical form so they can get frisky with it. And she is so excited about this. This wasn't good. This was the most cliche, cringy thing I've read this year, let me tell you. It was quick. It was a quick and easy read. I will give it that. It was entertaining. I laughed at the ridiculousness of this story because these characters are so lame. So lame. They know nothing about each other. They know each other for a grand total of maybe 2 weeks, maybe. I think I'm being generous with this. I think it's less than that. And they don't have much substance to them, but they are horny for one another. And even the smut in this book wasn't very good. Like, I was expecting this to be some kinky stuff because he is a shadow monster. I was expecting some, like, real kinky shadow play. It is the most vanilla shadow play I have ever read. This female main character was also so stupid. She is deathly afraid that her abusive husband is going to track her down and find her. And I don't know, I just think that if you are deathly afraid somebody is going to find you, you would put 0.5 seconds into thinking about the choices that you're going to make that could lead to him finding you very easily. Like, girl, she was so horny she forgot how the postal service works, I guess. I don't know. I liked the shadow creature, and I liked how quick and fast this was. That was it. But everything else, it was cliche, and it was not worth my time. I am glad that I got this secondhand at my used bookstore. Somebody actually went through and they like highlighted some stuff in this book, and then they just stopped for some reason. Maybe that's as far as they got. I wouldn't blame them. But yeah, this wasn't it. Like, that's all I have for you. Oh god, that hurt. No, I should not have moved like that. Okay, I'm gonna end out this video because I've been sitting here for too long and my back is starting to hurt, so I'm gonna have to go lay down on an ice pack again. But I did it. I got this video filmed and I'm pretty happy with that. So let me know down in the comments what is a book that you read this week, and if you don't feel like commenting that but would like to let me know that you made it to the end of this video, could you leave me give me an ice cube emoji because I need ice. And with that, thank you so much for watching, and until my next video, have a good reading week. Bye!